And now, around the world and around the corner, it's the David Bowers Awards, bringing the best in indie music to millions of listeners worldwide with your host, the David Bowers. We've got a fantastic lineup of guests, as well as our engineer extraordinaire, Nick the Geek, our entire crew here at the Asylum, and me. I'm John Bon Jovial. And now, here's the voice of indie music, the David Bowers.
Well, thank you very much there, the legendary John Bon Jovial, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome aboard for another hour of music, mirth, merriment, madness, and all those other crazy M words that are too many to recount. And we've got a great show here for you today. Got a great track to open up with, a couple of neat guests we want to talk to and share their music and story. I know you're going to like that. And, well, I suggest that perhaps we should get started right now with this track. It's the latest from our friends over in England, or the UK. They call themselves Wild Horse. This is from a forthcoming album, and it's called Simply Can't. Oh, yeah, there you go. It's Can't is the title of it. It's by the group Wild Horse, who's been on our show a couple of times already. It's the first single from their new album. The name of the album will be coming later this month, and the album itself will be arriving in July, and you'll be able to get a preview of it as well as hear what they have to say about it themselves, because they will be on our, I think it's the July 6th show, and they're going to come on. We're going to play a few tracks and talk about the album, which is getting fantastic reviews around the world. As a matter of fact, it just hit #1 on the Reverb Nation world charts, I believe. Their producer, Niall Squire, said that the tune has a hook, as he put it, so strong you could hang your coat on it. And he says also you listen past the exuberant punky reggae vibe, and you realize that this is no meaningless ditty. It rather eloquently describes the struggles of youth to keep their relationships and mental health in equilibrium, which I know you folks haven't had a chance to delve into the lyric that much detail yet. But Mary Wood of Recon Review said that Wild Horse is a new, elite, and beyond cool crossbreed of music methodologies and intuitive thinkers. So Cant is an explosive example of their ability to kick ass of society and change the way people think through skilled serendipity. I must admit I hadn't looked at it in that context, but she adds that she said the album is going to be sick. I love what BBC X had to say. Melita Bennett said, one of the most promising new guitar bands we've come across. She goes on to say that they just keep getting better, and their song Can't is further proof that they well can. I'd say they're getting some serious plaudits in addition to an awful lot of play. Can't wait to have them on the show. What say you, John Bon Jovial?
Well, serendipity aside, I'm listening to the song and I'm thinking to myself, I want to go to Jamaica, get some herb, and roll a fat one. These guys have matured so much. And how long have we been having them on the show now? About 3 years?
At least 2, yeah. I'd have to go back and look, but yeah.
They have grown from something that was, they're a talented bunch of kids, but they have grown into such a force to be reckoned with now. And the maturity of their music has come about, and it is just hitting you right in the face. Hey, listen to us. We're good. We count. And not too many bands can do that.
I remember when we first had them on the show, if you remember, I said that I really like these guys. They've got a great sound that kind of reminded me in exuberance and creativity of the very early Rolling Stones, and that I predicted big things, and they haven't disappointed. Each step they've taken has been a large step forward. And as I said, we can't wait to have them back on the show and talk about their new album, and that'll be coming up July 6th on the David Bowers Awards, and the album will be out a little bit later in July, and we don't even have a name for the album yet, but as soon as it's out, we'll be sure and pass the word on.
Really looking forward to
either here on the show or absolutely, or on our social media pages, and knowing this show, probably in both places, and it'll be all over the internet, so watch for it. Wild Horse, the tune is Can't, and they definitely can. And we're glad to have them, and we're also glad to have our next guest on the show, a couple of first-time guests today. This next gentleman is, I was just wondering, it looks like we've got an out-of-country number on the switchboard there, but our next guest isn't quite that far away. He's from Herkimer, New York, up in the Mohawk Valley, upstate, which is my old home stomping ground, as a matter of fact. And he was referred to us by an old friend of mine and of the show's, Anthony Z. Donaldson of Utica, who is we've had him on the show. He's a promoter, a music man himself through and through, and entrepreneur, and he has an internet station, and more about that in another time. As a matter of fact, I think Z is going to be joining us perhaps as soon as next week. I'm not sure at this point, because he's got a He's got a really interesting thing he's doing. But our next guest has a really neat sound. He's an accomplished musician and singer, and I think you're going to like Max Scialdone. This is Yesterday.
Yesterday, all my troubles seem so far away. Now it looks as though they're here to stay. Oh, I believe in yesterday. Suddenly, I'm not half the man I used to be. There's a shadow hanging over me. Oh, yesterday came suddenly. Why she had to go, I don't know. She wouldn't say. I said something wrong. Now I long for yesterday. Yesterday, love was such an easy game to play. Now I need a place to hide away. Oh, I believe in yesterday. Why she had to go, I don't know. She wouldn't say. I said something wrong. Now I long for yesterday. Yesterday, love was such an easy game to play. Now I need a place to hide away. Oh, I believe in yesterday.
Really, really nice cover of a classic, Yesterday, the Beatles tune. Max Scialdone is the gentleman's name, so I think we shall have him come in and sit down on the sofa and have a chat with us. Hello, Max.
How you doing, David?
We're doing great, thank you. How about yourself back there in upstate New York?
Oh, I'm not too bad at all.
Glad to hear that. As you're probably aware, you're kind of my homie there, because I'm originally from a little bit west of you, and I've spent quite a bit of time down through the valley, Utica, Ilion, Herkimer, all down through there. As a matter of fact, I had a couple of early jobs, and back in my wild and crazy days, I spent some time at WLFH in Little Falls and at the old WALY there in Herkimer. So I know the area very well. Unfortunately, you weren't around when I was there. Of course, that was probably before your time, since I'm a dinosaur. But hey, great to have you here, and we want to hear all about Max Scialdone and how you got into the music business.
How I got into the music business, that's a big question. Yeah, I mean, I just kept trying, different things. I write a lot of my own material, and I, play a lot of cover stuff and in cover bands and solo stuff and that kind of thing. And I just kind of kept trying to do different things just to kind of just get out there and, to try to set up a little, anywhere from a big show to a little party somewhere, and then just kind of kept digging, kept plugging away over time,
I see you've got a bio online that comes up, and it says that you're a rock singer from Herkimer, and it says that you'll travel up to 3,000 miles. So keep in mind that both my co-host John Bon Jovial and I are within 3,000 miles of where you are. John's down in the Fort Myers, Naples area of Florida, and I'm in the Phoenix area of Arizona. So if you're traveling around those areas, don't hesitate to give us a shout, because we'd love to get to see you in person.
Yeah, you need to let us know for sure.
A member. It says you're a member since 2011, but it doesn't say a member of what.
I actually have played in Fort Myers Beach before, a couple times.
Oh, there you go.
Well, then you know that there's quite the
Coral.
venue down here for indie music artists. It really is quite the burgeoning area.
Yeah, I had a really good time down there, too. a few times.
How would you go to
Friend
Florida
lives
and
there.
not have a good time in a beach community?
Right.
I've got a question
you're
for you,
playing-
David. If you
Oh,
don't
go
mind
ahead.
me cutting you off.